Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. My name is Crown, and today I'm going to read you some very interesting stories that I hope that you're gonna love. And now, without further ado, let's go!
I'm 25 and work full-time while sharing a small two-bedroom house with my roommate in our college town. She had just gotten out of a really draining relationship and was looking for something casual while she got her independence back. That's when this 19-year-old guy showed up and basically moved himself in. At first, it wasn't terrible. We all smoke weed and he had good connections. So we figured it was a fair trade since we weren't paying for much during the time he was essentially squatting at our place, while he never contributed anything toward groceries or bills. My roommate was really protective of her independence after her last relationship, but I think the age difference made her overlook some major red flags when they started showing up. This guy had an Adderall prescription for 20 milligram pills. He started out just taking them prescribed, but it quickly spiraled into a 10 pill per day habit. First, he was just swallowing them, but after about 2 weeks, he was snorting them off our living room table. When his habit got worse, my roommate started using them too. She has this really demanding job with 70-hour weeks, and the extra energy helped her get through it. I think that's another reason she put up with him for so long. The usual side effects of stimulant abuse started creeping in for both of them. They got irritable, had terrible short-term memory, and couldn't communicate their emotions or thoughts properly. I tried to stay out of their relationship since I knew she was smart enough to handle it herself, but we had a lot of deep conversations when he was out. During these talks, I'd express my concerns about the situation, and she'd open up about her struggles with the relationship and the drugs. I thought our conversations were helping until one day he went crazy and started pushing the idea of getting a dog. Keep in mind we live in a tiny house and work full-time. She was hesitant at first since she was already planning to cut him off, but she'd wanted a dog for years. He kept bringing it up every day, wearing her down with constant requests and promises that he'd help take care of it. After 2 weeks of visiting shelters, they picked out this adorable 6-month-old pit bull. The dog had an amazing personality, super playful, really smart, and perfect for our small house with a bigger backyard. My family used to train dogs professionally, so I know a good dog when I see one. Since I wasn't using the Adderall, I could see what was really happening. This guy knew my roommate was getting ready to kick him out, and he thought getting a dog would be the perfect way to keep himself around. But his age and addiction caught up with him. All the paperwork and payments were in my roommate's name, registration, vet visits, pet sitters, toys, everything. Since she worked crazy long hours and he was basically unemployed, he got it in his head that the dog was his and that he could keep him when things went south. The breakup finally happened after about 3 weeks of escalating morning arguments. I was at work when it went down. Cops got called, but nobody got physical. He packed up all his stuff, drove it back to his mom's house, then came back and told my roommate he was leaving. Then he took the dog with him. The cops who showed up had no idea what was going on and just let him walk off with the dog. Less than 24 hours later, my roommate had called so many police departments, lawyers, and pet advocacy groups that she had a complete plan of action. After filing everything, she was paranoid about retaliation. I'm a pretty big guy at 6'4" and 235 pounds, so I knew I could handle myself, but she's tiny and I have a full-time job. I assured her I'd keep an eye out and that we'd get through this together. In our state, animal disputes get settled in civil court and pets are treated like property. I don't know about you, but pets are family and shouldn't be treated like some random possession. The next day, she filed a civil suit to get the dog back. At her first court date, she presented all the evidence proving she owned the dog, plus documentation showing she had the resources to provide proper care. He countered with a bunch of lies, claiming she'd been abusive to the dog and didn't have time or money to take care of him properly. Both claims were completely false. Civil court drags these things out forever. The court eventually ruled in her favor and ordered him to return the dog, but when cops showed up, he claimed the dog had run away. Before this, she was just trying to get the dog back and wasn't even seeking financial compensation. By this time, about 2 months after the breakup, he was already in and out of a relationship with another woman. She had heard about the court stuff but didn't know who the other party was. Once she found out it was my roommate he'd screwed over, she started messaging her with information about the dog. Turns out they used to be friends. She told my roommate she felt terrible about what was happening and wanted to help however she could. During all this time, he'd been staying with his mother, who's a serious hoarder with maybe 10 square feet of usable space in her apartment. He couldn't take the dog on walks or to play dates because of the return order. His new girlfriend revealed that the dog was basically trapped in this tiny, cluttered space all day. One day, he took the dog to his dealer's house. The dealer has 2 pit bulls of his own. Our dog is in his teenage stage and started getting frisky with one of the other dogs, which ended up attacking him pretty brutally. Because of the return order and because information about him and the dog had been given to every vet within 50 miles, he couldn't get the dog medical treatment. This guy also made some deal with his dealer to essentially pimp out his new girlfriend, which was one of many reasons she was helping us. She told my roommate about this arrangement and how disgusted and scared she was. When my roommate heard about the dog getting hurt and not receiving treatment, she absolutely lost it. She was off the Adderall by then and thinking much more clearly. She went to her lawyer to see if there was any way to speed up getting the dog back. The lawyer told her she had several options and that the situation had escalated beyond a simple civil matter. Fast forward to today. He's officially been charged with felony theft and animal abuse and neglect. They're wrapping up the legal process with pleas and other legal whatnot. He's facing up to 8 years in prison, and if he doesn't return the dog within 1 week from today, he gets the maximum sentence. There's also a separate case from his ex-girlfriend about the pimping situation, plus charges for possession and manufacturing with intent to distribute meth and cocaine. Part of me feels bad for him because he completely destroyed his life at such a young age. But my roommate and I both know he wasn't going to get better regardless. He had his chance and threw it away. My roommate got a call from the police yesterday telling her they found the dog at his dealer's house during a raid. The dog needs some vet care, but he's going to be okay. She was crying with relief when she told me the news, and I've never seen her so happy. After months of legal battles and worry, our family is finally complete again. I'm 31 and just had my first baby with my husband who's 33. We've been together for 6 years, married for 3, and his mother has always been complicated. She's one of those people who does things out of the kindness of her heart, but somehow always expects something in return. My husband has always been caught in the middle trying to keep peace between us. My mother-in-law is 59 and retired, so she has plenty of time on her hands. She lives about 20 minutes away and has keys to our house, which I'm now seriously reconsidering. She's always been the type to let herself in and rearrange things or comment on how we keep house. My husband says that's just how she is, but it drives me crazy. So here's what happened. Last week I went into labor at home. My water broke while I was standing in our bedroom, right on the carpet. It was this whole dramatic moment with contractions starting, fluid everywhere, and my husband scrambling to get our hospital bag. I quickly threw some towels down on the wet spot and we rushed out the door. The last thing on my mind was cleaning up. The birth was rough. Really rough. There were complications that kept me in the hospital for a full week instead of the usual 2 days. My husband barely left my side and we were both exhausted and worried about the baby. During this time, his mother offered to come feed our 2 dogs and we were genuinely grateful. We gave her our spare key and asked her to check on them twice a day. Yesterday, we finally came home with our healthy baby boy. I was still sore and tired, just wanting to settle in and start our new life as parents. That's when I saw it. A handwritten note stuck to our refrigerator with a receipt stapled to it. The note said she had taken care of the bedroom situation and cleaned the rest of the house while she was at it. The receipt showed she'd bought over $200 worth of cleaning supplies. Below that, she'd written out a bill for 8 hours of work at $25 per hour, plus the cost of products. Total $400. I stared at this note for a solid 5 minutes. She had somehow discovered that my water had broken in the bedroom, something we hadn't told anyone, which meant she'd been snooping through our house. Then she decided to deep clean everything and charge us for it. My husband was just as shocked. He immediately sent her a long text message explaining that while we appreciated her help with the dogs, we were upset that she had snooped through the house and found out about my water breaking in the bedroom without us telling her. He told her we were hurt that she had bought hundreds of dollars worth of cleaning products and was now charging us for work we never asked for. He asked where the cleaning products even were since we were apparently paying for them. He said when we asked her to feed the dogs, we thought she was helping out of kindness, not looking for a way to make money. He told her we were family and felt hurt that she would do this while I was so sick. Her response came within minutes. She texted back saying she couldn't believe we would be so ungrateful and that she had done everything out of the kindness of her heart. She said she had worked for 8 hours to make our house perfect for the baby and couldn't believe this was the thanks she got. That's when the family drama really started. Apparently, she'd called every relative she could think of to complain about us. My phone started buzzing with texts from his aunts, cousins, even his grandmother. One aunt told me that my mother-in-law didn't have to help me at all, but she did despite her advanced age out of love, and that I should be ashamed. A cousin said she was almost 60 years old and spent her whole day making our house clean for the baby, and the least we could do was pay her. An uncle texted that family helps family, but that doesn't mean people should be taken advantage of. The messages kept coming. I finally had to turn my phone off completely because I couldn't handle it while trying to recover and bond with my newborn. My husband was getting even more messages, with people accusing us of manipulating the situation and making his mother look bad. By evening, my husband was getting worn down by the constant texts and calls. He suggested that maybe we should just pay her to make this all go away because he wanted to focus on me and the baby, not deal with family drama. I told him absolutely not. I explained that she had invaded our privacy, spent money we didn't authorize, and was now trying to charge us for work we never requested. I said if we paid her, she would think this behavior was acceptable. That's when she sent another text that really made my blood boil. She said she had decided to be generous and gift us the cleaning products so we could take that off the bill, but she still expected to be paid for her time because 8 hours dealing with what she called a biohazard deserved compensation. A biohazard. She called my amniotic fluid a biohazard. But the next morning she showed up at our door unannounced with 2 of my husband's aunts in tow. I was in my pajamas trying to breastfeed the baby when they walked in using her key. My mother-in-law announced that they needed to settle this right now because she had been losing sleep over how ungrateful we'd been. One aunt immediately jumped in saying that my mother-in-law was family and family doesn't charge family. I asked then why was she charging us. The other aunt said that was different because she had done work. I pointed out that it was work nobody asked for. My mother-in-law defended herself, saying she saw the mess in my bedroom and knew I couldn't handle it with a newborn, so she was being helpful. I asked her how going through our private space without permission and then billing us for it was helpful. The argument continued for 20 minutes. My husband tried to mediate, but I was done being diplomatic. These women had barged into my house while I was trying to recover from childbirth and bond with my baby, all to demand money for services nobody requested. Finally, I'd had enough. I told them I had an idea for how to settle this. I went to my laptop and opened up my browser. I explained that since she wanted to be paid like a professional cleaning service, she should be regulated like one. I told them that, in our state, anyone providing cleaning services for payment needs to be licensed and insured. I said unlicensed service providers who cause damage aren't covered by homeowners insurance. Then I really got their attention. I explained that since she had accessed our home without the homeowner present and performed unauthorized work, she was technically trespassing and could face charges. I said that charging for services without a contract or agreement could be considered fraud. The room got very quiet. One aunt asked if I was threatening to call the police on family. I explained that I wasn't threatening anything, just pointing out the legal reality of what had happened. I said that if she wanted to be treated like a business, she needed to follow business rules. My mother-in-law's face went red. She started yelling that I was being ridiculous and that she was just trying to help. I stayed calm and told her that help doesn't come with a bill. I said that if she had asked permission first, we could have discussed it, but she had made unilateral decisions about our property and our money. The aunts tried to jump back in, saying I was being ungrateful and mean. I looked them in the eye and explained that I had just given birth after a traumatic week in the hospital. I said the last thing I needed was people barging into my home demanding money for work I never authorized while I was trying to care for a newborn. Then I delivered the final blow. I told them that since my mother-in-law was so concerned about being paid fairly for her time, I had calculated what we should actually owe her. I explained that she was supposed to feed our dogs twice a day for 7 days, which should have taken about 15 minutes each time. That meant she had agreed to about 3.5 hours of work total. At $25 an hour, we owed her $87.50 for the dog care. But then I told them I was deducting costs. I said that since she had used our electricity, water, and cleaning supplies that we already had in the house, plus the gas money for extra trips she wasn't supposed to make, and the invasion of privacy fee for going through our personal space without permission, the bill was actually zero. I concluded by saying that if she wanted to take us to small claims court over it, she was welcome to try, but she should probably get that business license first. My mother-in-law stormed out with the aunts following behind her. She yelled over her shoulder that we would regret this, and that the whole family would know what kind of people we really were. My husband stood there looking stunned. He asked if I had really just done all that. I told him yes. He started laughing and said he'd never seen anyone shut his mother down like that before. We haven't heard from her since. I met my fiancée in college, and we dated for 4 years. We were that couple everyone said was perfect for each other. After graduation, we both got decent jobs and started saving for our future together. For 3 years, we put away money every month for our dream wedding. We had spreadsheets, Pinterest boards, the whole 9 yards. When he finally proposed, it was everything I dreamed of. The location, the speech, the moment itself. Pure magic. The only problem was, the ring didn't fit. It was 2 sizes too big and kept sliding around my finger. I felt awful bringing it up because I didn't want to seem ungrateful, but I couldn't wear a ring that would fall off. 2 weeks later, we went back to the jewelry store where he'd bought it. He still had the receipt, thankfully. The sales associate was super helpful and explained they could exchange it for the same style in my size since it was a mass-produced design from their movie-themed collection. My fiancé apologized for getting the wrong size, admitting he was so nervous during the purchase that he probably gave them the wrong measurement. I reassured him it wasn't a big deal and joked that at least we caught it before I lost it down a drain somewhere. We left with the properly sized ring, and I wore it proudly while we continued planning our wedding. 10 months later, everything changed. My fiancé died in a car accident. I won't go into details, but it was sudden and devastating. Our wedding fund became his funeral fund, and I was left trying to piece my life back together. The day after the funeral, his brother showed up at my apartment. He told me he needed to talk about the ring, claiming it had been in their family for 5 generations and needed to come back to them. I stared at him, confused and still raw from grief. I explained that couldn't be right since we had the receipt from last year showing his brother had bought it for me. The brother accused me of lying and insisted the ring had belonged to their great-great-great-grandmother. I showed him the paperwork, including both the original receipt and the exchange receipt. He barely looked at the documents before dismissing them as potentially fake, claiming he knew that ring and it was theirs. I reminded him that his brother had literally told their parents about buying it and getting it resized when we announced our engagement. He threatened legal action if I didn't return the ring, then stormed out, leaving me shaking and confused. Within days, I started getting calls from different family members. His mother demanded I return what didn't belong to me, while I kept insisting the ring was bought for me and I had proof. She accused me of lying, claiming they knew their family heirlooms. His father called it theft and threatened lawyers. Even his sister called to express outrage at what she saw as stealing from a grieving family. Then came the letter from their lawyer. Not only did they want the ring, but they also demanded I reimburse them for the funeral costs. I paid for everything myself because they claimed they couldn't afford it. I called my friend, who's a lawyer, and he examined everything. He confirmed it was legitimate legal action, but assured me they didn't have a case, since I had all the documentation and had paid for services they were now claiming I owed them for. The court case was surreal. I sat there listening to them claim this mass-produced ring from a company that started in the 2000s was somehow a Victorian-era family heirloom. Their lawyer kept pressing me about allegedly stealing family property, while I just kept showing my receipts and bank records. When it came out during proceedings that they'd received life insurance money that was double what the funeral cost, the judge looked less than impressed with their reimbursement demands. The judge reviewed the evidence and said clearly that it showed the ring was purchased by the deceased for me as an engagement gift, with the exchange receipt further supporting this. The case was dismissed. A few months ago, his sister reached out. She congratulated herself on getting engaged soon and explained they hadn't gotten a ring yet. She said she was hoping I'd let her have her brother's ring, claiming it would mean so much to have him be part of this moment. I told her I couldn't do that since the ring was given to me as an engagement gift. She argued that since he was gone now, there was no point in me keeping it. I explained it was all I had left of our relationship. She called me selfish and insisted her brother would want her to have it. When I didn't respond, the messages started coming in waves. Dozens of texts demanding the ring, calling me names, threatening more legal action. I blocked her, but she kept finding ways around it through different numbers, social media accounts, and email addresses. When I was having brunch with a close friend, my phone kept buzzing with messages from yet another new number. When my friend saw the harassment, she shocked me by saying I was wrong and should give the ring to his sister. She shared this opinion with our other friends, and they all seemed to agree. Now I'm questioning everything. The sister claims in her messages that her brother would want her to have the ring and that it would make her feel like he's part of her next step in life, letting his spirit know he's not forgotten. But after her recent escalating messages, I've called my lawyer friend again and sent him screenshots. We have a meeting scheduled for this week. I'm also rethinking my friendships with people who think I should hand over my engagement ring to satisfy this entitled family. They've already put me through legal hell once, received insurance money they never mentioned, and now want to take the one thing I have left from the relationship. The ring stays with me. It was bought for me, given to me with love, and represents a relationship that meant everything to me. No amount of harassment or manipulation will change that fact. And now we have reached the end of today's stories. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.